It's time to put your gambling pants on, boys, because I have Jayden Daniels over-under numbers for his rookie season right in front of me. And we're going to gamble over or under on every single one of these numbers.
I wish I remember what I predicted a week ago. I feel like we made predictions on Jayden Daniels a week ago.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty close.
I just love over.
I know my instincts on these are, I don't want to go through them yet, but they're just easy. I feel like these are easy bets.
The numbers look low, but you got to remember
health.
The numbers, they look low.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but I can only assume.
But the average stat for quarterbacks last year went under.
And Valdez, I know
Valdez is a big proponent of unders.
Unders is always like the easier path is always to the under.
It's blind. It's not just injury, but in a vacuum, everything needs to go right in order to hit an over.
Right.
Complementary players need to stay healthy. Scheme, play calling.
Maybe these numbers are set low because of that.
Maybe
they do look kind of low. But
I think they're
and look, there's unknowns too. What if
I believe last year every quarter? I think I did the math. I think it was like if you bet $100 on every total for the quarterbacks, you ended up being plus 1,900.
I mean, I find it unlikely, but what if
I'm happy to do that?
What if Dan Quinn and the coaching staff just determine that Jayden's not ready to start week 1, and he starts week 5 or week 6? Then all of your overs, if you pick them, are blown out of the water.
Sure.
They're just dead on arrival.
And there were almost 80 quarterbacks that played last year, so a ton of injuries.
Now, I think Jayden Daniels is going to start week 1.
Now, if you took Jordan Love over all those numbers last year, well, you killed it.
Yeah, you crushed.
But if you're going to bet all of them, then the under is probably the best play.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
All right, let's lead off with touchdowns. These are passing touchdowns, not rushing touchdowns. The number, 18.5.
Seems low
over.
because
I don't care. I'm over that. If he gets hurt, he ain't gonna hit it. But over.
If he plays every game,
he's over.
He
probably
plays 17
over,
games.
Yeah, over.
That's just one
that's
point,
a big
whatever,
if.
one per game.
That's such a low number. I mean, if he throws 19 touchdowns, it's nothing to write home about.
I know.
How many did Howell have this season?
20. He was 20 and 20, I think.
He barely went over.
Right, but
Howell was 21.
Howell did nothing the last 6 games.
Howell had 21,
I know.
Yeah.
He did nothing the last 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, I
He
would
played
think
all
over.
17. That's what helped him.
That's the hard part is the health factor.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony Richardson is a huge guy. Now, they ran him differently than you would think that Jayden Daniels run, but what did he last? 4 games?
His shoulder got pwned. Like nice and early in the season.
But if you put Anthony Richardson standing shirtless next to Jayden Daniels, shirtless.
They look like two different species of human beings.
Right.
Anthony Richardson looks like he was created in a lab, and Jayden Daniels looks like he needs to eat 8 meals a day. Like they don't look anything alike. They're frames.
If you could guarantee me that he was going to play the full season, 18.5, I would go over.
Of course.
Because if he didn't go over that, he probably has a bad year.
Yeah, certainly.
If he has 15 passing touchdowns and plays a full season, that's a bad year.
How many touchdowns did Bryce Young have last season? Was it like 11 or 12?
He had 11.
Putrid number.
He had an awful year. Now, he didn't have any weapons.
There's a reason that they drafted Xavier Leggett, and they drafted a running back, and they traded for Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, they need help.
They need a better, surrounding cast.
Stroud had 23 last year. Now, he missed a couple of games, right?
He missed 2 games. Now, maybe, I don't know if those were... 2. He missed 2? Okay.
I don't think quarterback touchdown passes is necessarily an indicator of how well the quarterback does.
But this is a passing bet, correct? The 18.5, it's not a combined touchdown.
Passing
this
touchdowns.
Is passing.
Passing tutties only.
I would lean towards the over, but I would be very nervous. Well, it's not a lock him up.
I think I'm going to.
I think it's a pretty. You could, if he stays healthy, you can breathe easy.
I think there's only one number here that I'm leaning towards the under out of 5 numbers so far.
I agree with you, but I think that one's close.
All right, so I think all of us are unanimous on over the 18.5 touchdowns, passing touchdowns.
I kind of like under.
You like the under?
Kind of like the under.
You're going to zig while we're
you're going to take unders on all.
No,
these.
I know, but I'm just saying if he played in all of these games and there was no injury, I kind of like the under because I just, for whatever reason, I think the trend now is to kind of run it when you're in that red zone and in the within 10 yards.
Right.
I think that's kind of what the NFL is trending towards, is punching it in that way.
What about his deep ball prowess? You don't think he'll hit on a few of those?
Yeah, a few of those, but not to have more than 19 total touchdowns. Look, I'm not saying if he has 18 touchdowns, it's a bad year for him. But I'm just, Maybe
Yeah,
they,
it kinda
maybe
depends
they don't
on-
have the horses to be that explosive yet. So maybe they try to punch it in. Mm-hmm. Just kind of what I'm envisioning. Maybe a lot of quarterback draws and design runs around the 20.
Well,
Or
let's go through.
or they could be dump offs to Austin Eckler, and then he does all the work and brings it in.
Yeah.
Still counts.
Again, it depends on how many games he plays, which you obviously don't know.
If I'm
Drabby,
counting this correctly, 18 quarterbacks had more than 18 and a half last season.
Yeah.
So on the low side, Justin Herbert in 13 games had 20. Geno Smith in 15 games had 20. Sam Howell had 21, played all the games. Trevor Lawrence, 21. C.J. Stroud with the 23, mentioned that. So I'd be nervous. I think Valdez could end up being right, but I would lean towards over.
All right, let's go to yards now. The over-under number is 3,250.
I'm soaring over it. It's just
I
such
mean, that's less than 200 passing yards
such
per
a
game.
pedestrian
if he plays
number.
17 games.
Yeah.
That's like 180 passing yards per game.
I mean, it's not
Again,
like I think he's going to be
The majority of the league, the majority of starters probably went over that number.
right.
Only 17. 17 of them
That's
went
the
over.
majority.
It's still the majority. Barely, but it is. But again, it comes down to the games. If he plays 14 games, he's probably not getting over that.
Yeah, I need him in 15 plus games to hit these overs.
I'm going over.
If he's in 12 or 13 games, I don't like it.
Yeah,
don't
you
like
need,
the bets.
You definitely need 14 games because I'm looking. Justin Herbert, who we think is a pretty good quarterback, played in 13 games, 31-34.
Yeah.
You need 14 games.
By the way, on a side note, I would take all the Justin Herbert passing unders in 2024. Just look at what they're doing with that offense.
I would probably too, but let's see where they
Just
set
take
it at.
every single one. I'm going to go over, but not by a lot. Like
Okay.
if he has 3,600 passing yards,
That's way
and
over.
sprinkles in some rushing yards, like I think that's about where he'll come in. Maybe he's surprised as it goes for 4,000 as a rookie. I don't know. Maybe.
I just think at 3,000 is just such a pedestrian number these days. I mean, it'd be
Justin
embarrassing.
Fields last season in 13 games, 2,500 yards.
13 games, and he sucks.
he's just not an accomplished passer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
but it was year 4, right? Year 4 of Justin Fields.
I believe so, yeah.
Right, that's why they
Played in 13 games,
why they had
and
the
some
number one
people
pick.
were on the fence with whether they should keep going with Justin Fields.
They got off the fence and
because he
decided
runs for
Caleb
so
Williams
much,
was the
right?
guy.
Looked like
So
a Hall of
Jayden
Famer
runs,
when he played Washington.
If Jayden runs for 800 yards, which might be a low ball number for Jayden Daniels, then maybe he's going to be below these numbers.
All right, let's move on to interceptions. 13.5.
I mean, look.
That's
Let
a
me just
lot.
mention this yard.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the under on yards. Lamar Jackson, who won the MVP, threw for 36.78.
It's 400 over.
Yeah, just way over this number.
Okay, but do you think he's going to be close to Lamar Jackson as a rookie?
I don't know.
He might ultimately become a Lamar Jackson-like player. That's the person he's been most comped to, right? Jayden Daniels has been most comped to Lamar Jackson. Is he going to give you Lamar Jackson numbers in year 1? I doubt it.
Hey, I don't need 36.78. I need 32.51. And by my math, that's less than 200 passing yards per game.
Yeah, I would probably go under it.
You think Cliff Kingsbury's going to scheme up an offense that passes for less than 200 yards per game? I don't think that's the case.
Well, if his quarterback is running for 80 a game,
I think 80 a game.
We also have to see how he's used.
I don't think he's going to be running for 80 a game.
Let's see what kind of system they run.
I think that's an outrageous ask.
You can't, JP. You can't look at those stats because you got to think about the number of attempts that were thrown. The Ravens have one of the best rushing offenses in the league. So why would you throw the ball nonstop? In comparison,
well, I understand that, but part of that is because Lamar is such a good runner. Lamar is part of that running game.
Josh Allen who was a running quarterback, threw for over 130 more attempts than Lamar Jackson did.
Yeah, Lamar didn't throw a ton of balls.
So
he was 17th in the league in attempts.
So you can't just look at, Lamar had X amount of yards, and if Jayden's comp to Lamar, then he should have around the same amount.
The interceptions.
No, I'm saying he's going to have less. I would comp him to Lamar, and I would just take Lamar's numbers and take dramatically less than what Lamar is accomplishing. in most of the categories, especially for Jayden Daniels as a rookie. I'm just saying I'm taking an under on that one.
All right, shouldn't we comp him to Kyler, who started in 2019
That's fair.
as a rookie, similar type of quarterback,
Right.
with Kingsbury? His
You can
rookie
do that,
year,
too.
he threw 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and passed for 3,700 yards.
Yeah, man, that soars
How many
over
games?
the number.
How many
did he play a
games?
full season?
He played a full season, 16 games that year.
Yeah, again, if you could tell me he's going to play a full season, I'm going over on some of these numbers. But I'm just banking on him not.
All right, let's move to the interceptions. 13.5.
That seems like a high number.
13.5.
Let's see. How many guys
He's
threw
a
more
guy
than
that takes care of the ball. At least in college, he did. I'm going to go under
Six
13.5.
Six guys last year threw more than 13.5 picks.
Yeah.
How many of them were rookies?
And they were all, how many were rookies?
None of them?
Well, Hal wasn't a rookie, but
Okay.
first-year starter.
Yeah.
He was the only one.
I mean, most of them are really good quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, Tua,
But they're
Patrick
also
Mahomes.
throwing the ball almost 600 times.
Right.
Right.
I don't see Daniels throwing the ball 600 times.
No, nor should he
Right,
as a
he's not.
rookie.
I would take the under.
I'm
going to
take under, and then also
would
you
take
get
under
hooked
that.
on that one with the getting
With
injured.
the health one, yeah. I think that
You know what?
that's probably
I
the
should
biggest.
take under on all the interception numbers.
Well, it's not just that. You should do it for every stat.
I know, but I'm saying it'd be even a little easier.
But see, here's the problem. You can't just do it with one or two guys. You got to do it with,
No, I know. Do all 30.
Gotta do
All right, I know.
volume.
I understand.
or do it with half the league.
Yeah.
You're going to make money. You do it with 15 starters or 16 starters, you're going to make money. But now you got to place a lot of wagers.
No, I know. I like it.
All right, rushing
You got to place about
touchdowns
75 wagers.
for Jayden Daniels as a rookie. The number, 4.5.
I'll go over that one.
By the way,
think I have to go
the
over
13 and a half, I think, is a lock. People should jump on that and put a lot of money on it. Under 13.
I like the under there.
That's
too.
what I'm saying. I feel like it's a bigger lock than the other ones.
I agree.
I think Jayden Daniels, if he stays healthy, he's upright. I mean, 6 or 7 touchdowns rushing seems
I
like
think
a
that
lot.
rushing number is a joke. That's one I would go over.
Over.
I mean,
I think that's a
I know you can't go over any of these. I would have to go over that.
Although Drab pointing out Kyler Murray's rookie season is intriguing. 16 games, he gave you 4 rushing touchdowns. You probably would have guessed more. You would have guessed the over if I said
Lock, I would.
over under 4.5. You would have
Yep.
said over.
Probably.
All right, and the final stat we have here is for the over-under rushing yards for Jayden Daniels, 550.
I'm soaring way over that. I'll lose, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm
Kyler
gonna go
Murray's a
over.
rookie, 544.
What is that like? Is that 30-ish rushing yards per game? Something in that neighborhood? Maybe a little more? 30 to 35 rushing yards per game?
35 times 10 is 350. I don't know, probably
Somewhere
like
around there. Yeah, I think he destroys that number.
that. Yeah,
Just
soaring
pummeled
over.
32 yards a game.
Because he's going to give you a game. He's going to give you at least one game where he rushes for like 110 yards.
Right.
I mean, where he's going to be the leading rusher on the team, and he's just going to break off like a 60-yarder.
Right.
I think. I mean, that
I think it'd
seems to be
I think-
within his skill set.
I don't think he's going to shatter that. I think it'll be close.
I'm 4 or 5.
How many
overs.
How many rushing quarterbacks, or how many quarterbacks rushed for more than 550 last year?
I would guess
Not a
Josh
lot.
Allen probably did. Jalen Hurts probably did.
Well, Lamar definitely did.
Hurts might not have, though.
I
You know
doubt
what?
Hurts did.
Hurts
Fields-
scored a lot of touchdowns, but he was gimpy. I'm going to go under his number.
Fields did.
Yeah.
All right, so Lamar did. Fields did.
What did Hal rush for? 300?
Hurts did.
Hurts did make that
He
number.
had
Okay.
605. Allen was under 550.
What did Hal run for? He was just running for his life. He wasn't. They never ran
Yeah,
him.
they were running for your
He
life
was just
stat.
running for his life.
I don't know. He's not in the top 50. Here.
200 maybe.
I got to go back.
He
and
was
look.
way underutilized that way.
Unless I'm missing it.
All right, so I think most of us are on most of the overs in these 5
Sam
stat
Howell was at
categories.
263.
Yeah, that's about right. I think we agree on all of them.
Yeah.
I think
we-
JP
we-
maybe is taking a contrary view on passing yards based on Lamar. It's something I understand.
Put it this
that.
way, Valdez, tell me if you agree. If you played the under on all 5 of those, I think you're going to make money.
I would agree, unless it's juiced
Well, you
like
think
crazy.
he thinks that about everything, though.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about Daniels.
But if you told me that there's going to be 17 games in the season, I would here, Jason, hold that up again.
Yeah.
I would do.
Oh, if he's going to play 17?
Yeah, I would do.
I would go
TDs,
over.
I would
TDs
go
under. TDs under. Yards over. INTs under. Rushing touchdowns, under. Rushing yards, under.
So there were only 3 quarterbacks that went over the 550 rushing yards. It was Hurts, Fields, Jackson.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of yards.
But the touchdowns, do you know how many rushing touchdowns Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen had?
I'm going to say 15.
15 each.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
they
lot.
killed it.
It's a boatload.
Lamar only had 5. Justin Fields had 4. Josh Dobbs had 6.
But think about that. Allen had 15 rushing touchdowns, but he still didn't get to 550. That's just, I think it's just a big number.